3, 2, 1.
I remember interviewing Blizzard employees where they've explicitly said, and this is as late as like I think 2012, they've explicitly said, we do not care about esports. If we make a great game first and it happens to be a successful esport, great, but we do not care.
You're still taking responsibility knowing that it was kind of stacked against you.
It's sad and I don't like it. It's politics and I don't like that. The facts matter and the context matters. Any step that I do that is wrong, I pay for it. And that's not should be for everyone. But it isn't, and that's something I didn't adapt to fast enough. I reach out to all the different parties and I try to say, hey man, we have to stop this. Like, this is not only bad for me, it's bad for everyone involved. The org, the league, it was sort of shut down.
I didn't start this war, but I'm damn well gonna finish it.
The Overwatch League is an esports organization for Blizzard's flagship competitive title. Think of it like the esports equivalent of the NBA, but for Overwatch. However, Blizzard has had a series of controversies stemming from their extremely strict policies, double standard rulings, and overbearing micromanagement of players' lives. Not least of which includes popular streamer xQc, a former pro player who I interviewed with a long history of back and forth with Blizzard. I've included clips from our interview in this video, along with many mishaps and questionable rulings Blizzard has enacted, which seem to be based on knee-jerk reactions rather than consistent policies.
We now proactively seek out social media sites like YouTube, for example, and look for incidents of very toxic behavior and track down the accounts that are participating in those and action them oftentimes before anybody's even reported them or they've shown up in any other place. So that's just one example of us being proactive that I think is going to make a big difference over time.
Yeah, that's me, Jeff Kaplan, Vice President of Blizzard Entertainment. You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, it all started in 1933 when the Nazi Party took power in Germany. Ever since then, Nazis have been everywhere, including our video games, and of course, YouTube. That's why we here at Blizzard are hunting down toxicity not only in-game, but on YouTube as well. And what's the biggest sign of being a Nazi? Pepe the Frog, of course.
Wanted. Dead or alive.
Pro Overwatch player Sinatra made the mistake of posting this racist meme on Twitter for his 18th birthday. A simple "feels birthday man" emote, taken from Twitch chat, but obviously disguised as hateful alt-right propaganda. Blizzard contacted Sinatra and told him to delete this tweet because it showcased the dreaded Pepe meme, which they associated with racism and Nazis.
100% German power!
Aside from being completely oversensitive, the key phrase there is that they associated Pepe with racism. While it's true that some alt-right people have adopted Pepe, Pepe itself is much bigger than that and much more widely used in a completely benign way. It has a long history of usage before the alt-right was even considered a thing. Furthermore, Sinatra just posted a fucking Twitch emote. It wasn't even his own meme or joke. Feels Birthday Man is literally an emote used in Twitch chat. Hilariously enough though, this wasn't the only time Blizzard got their jimmies rustled over an emote. At a live competition, an audience member holding a sign with Pepe the Frog on it had his poster taken away for supposed hate speech. And lo and behold, this poster was also depicting an emote. The easy emote, to be specific. Now, where have I heard this before? Oh, that's right, that's what CJ Ride got a lot of flack for. You know, it seems like the Taiwanese media and Blizzard have a lot in common, finding the easy emote highly offensive. You know, it's just something about that smug-ass look on his face. Another pro Overwatch player, Taimo, gave up ownership of his own Discord due to fear of Blizzard holding him accountable for the multitude of Pepe memes and emotes posted there. Perhaps the most controversial and well-known figure in the Overwatch League was none other than the infamous streamer and former pro player xQc, who has a bit of a reputation for rocking the boat.
And I threw 2 rounds of Koth on Bastion. I just played Bastion because someone in my game was just trying to trigger me on purpose, and I didn't react properly. I didn't react like I should have. We are currently investigating the issue and will provide updates as...
Seemingly due to his past mistakes, xQc became a target for punishment, even when it wasn't justified.
Get their hands dirty already! There's a new monkey in town fresh off the suspension. Yes.
I shouldn't overstay my welcome. I'm probably still on the watch list here.
The most well-known incident regarding xQc once again involved the use of Blizzard's worst nightmare. A Twitch emote, specifically the use of the tryhard emote accompanied by the number 7, while Malik, an African-American host, was on the Overwatch League stream. This incident was the straw that broke the camel's back, causing a 4-game suspension and a $4,000 fine from Blizzard, which in turn, after dealing with several past incidents, caused xQc's team, Dallas Phill, to release him.
Always thought hiring you was a mistake.
When I got like the tryhard thing, or like the punishment that was coming, I was just so devastated because for once I didn't understand everything and I did want to fix it and I was trying to and I was ready to go off and do good things, and that happened. It just felt like in a moment where I was like struggling to breathe or trying to get better, I just, you know, like a foot in my throat.
I was kicking you while you're down.
Yeah, and that was it for me.
I am a different man now.
Now, let me provide the one thing Blizzard seems to hate. Context. You see, prior to this incident, xQc had a long history of typing in memes and emotes in almost every Twitch chat room he was in. In fact, Tryhard7, the one that got him punished, was one of his most common messages. It just so happened that as he joined the chat room on that day, Malik coincidentally also appeared on stream. But xQc's intention was never to be racially insensitive at all.
How embarrassing.
Obviously mine wasn't meant in that way. In any shape or form. I really didn't like process the whole thing, how it'd be seen and how people would react to it.
Did you talk to Malik one-on-one ever about how it was just a coincidence?
I talked to him the next day.
Okay, so he understood that it was just a coincidence.
Yeah. But, you know, when things started getting like, out of proportion or whatever, and when things started getting traction on social media, then he sort of backtracked from there, which is sort of reasonable, because he wanted to make a point where it's not okay to do it.
It seems like even though Malik knew xQc didn't mean anything by it, he wanted to use the incident as a way to speak out against those who do regularly use tryhard as a way to sort of mock black people on streams. Which, I agree, does happen and it is somewhat racially insensitive. However, that is not at all what xQc was doing here.
Hey, I took a screenshot. He did this, right? Yeah. He said tryhard. There's a, you know, African-American person, and that goes online and that like catches on fire, you know, and it spreads really fast, and there's no room for explanation or no room for anything. And then it seems like Blizzard or the other party has to respond really fast to the community outcry.
Blizzard responding to community outcry regardless of context seems to be a recurring theme in the Overwatch League. In fact, even before the final punishment regarding Tryhard7, many of xQc's past incidents reflect this pattern of knee-jerk reactions from Blizzard. For example, Muma is another pro player who had a friendly rivalry with xQc. They would regularly banter back and forth.
xQc said in his chat that you're just mad because he wrecks you every time you guys scrim. That's funny because xQc doesn't scrim with Dallas Phill because he only got picked up to be a streamer.
In the wise words of a good friend of mine, rolled and smoked my doggies.
I smoked you, dude! Nah, you didn't smoke shit. Shut your fucking mouth, go back there, suck a fat cock. I mean, he would like it, but...
So many games.
For making that comment, xQc was suspended for 4 matches and was fined $2,000 by Blizzard.
I hope we don't get banned for this.
Now, the reason given was because apparently these were homophobic slurs since Muma is gay. However, xQc explained that this wasn't the case at all. You see, Muma isn't actually gay. He's straight, and no, I'm just kidding. He's totally gay.
Dude, I always use that same sort of line,
right.
And I've sort of moved away from that because I know like it can be bad in certain cases where I have to modify it for certain cases. But then some people went from my chat to his chat and they said, hey, he's being homophobic or whatever, right? And then he reacted to them saying that, like, you know, like Like the game of telephone or whatever. I don't know how to say it in English. And then I went on Discord immediately and I said, dude, like, what's happening? Like, it's not what I meant or whatever. And it was pretty chill. But then by that time, it was too late.
You are mistaken, brother. I am beyond redemption.
Once again, Blizzard decided to punish xQc based off community outcry, instead of allowing their players to settle it between themselves like adults, which it sounds like xQc and Muma had already done.
You need a timeout.
When things catch on fire on social media or on Reddit, just things happen in a flash. But if it doesn't, nothing happens. And that's, I think, is the most disappointing thing, or the most punishing thing for me. Like, it just mentally, it's just kind of, you know, it's upsetting, really.
Here, there we go. That always works. Oh my, wow. There is.
What are you seeing?
A lot going in here. Well, I mean, the first thing we need to talk about with your hand, your left hand, you have something that we like to call extremely questionable conduct, or xQc for short.
Oh no.
The Overwatch League casters humiliated xQc in front of thousands of viewers, mostly in response to a tweet of his, in which he called them cancerous. I messaged xQc asking for more clarification on this, and he told me that these comments came after he found out he was going to be punished for the tryhard emote, and that by this point he'd been so fed up in dealing with the Overwatch League staff, and even the casters, who regularly tried to make him look bad on stream with their commentary.
I was listening to the cast, and whatever they're saying about me, well, I was not okay with it. Not the joke they made, but the casting during that day, and I just tweeted it. I didn't expect them to punish me for that.
Might be on tilt. Might be, I don't care.
Another example of Blizzard's blatant double standards are evident in a situation involving a coach for Team Outlaws named Tyrong. As I've shown you, Blizzard has been extremely sensitive regarding potentially offensive jokes or memes. Yet, when Tyrong tweeted out this image, which is arguably pretty offensive to Japanese people,
"This bomb's for you!"
he was never punished. In fact, the only reason this incident was ever acknowledged by Blizzard at all was because xQc made a big deal of this double standard on his stream.
When I slip for one word, I spent 2 months on the bench, dude, doing nothing, twisting my fucking thumbs, wondering like, what's going on? Am I fucked up? And he posted a fucking meme that he thought about. He posted it voluntarily on Twitter, and he gets nothing for it. Fuck this! Fuck this! It did feel like a double standard. It absolutely did.
Once again, Blizzard's actions were dictated by the viewers, and in this case, xQc showed that even he could garner enough outrage for actions to be taken. The community blew up with this clip, and the spotlight was now on Tyrong.
So it's the same pattern again. It's just reacting to community outcry, otherwise nothing happens really.
However, in the end, Blizzard decided to go with a compromising response. They acknowledged Tyrong's tweet and condemned it in one of their press releases, but ultimately decided against taking any further action because Tyrong had donated to a charity and apologized. Apparently some people are allowed to correct their own mistakes, while others are not.
I shouldn't be surprised you took his side.
And it just felt like it was like not really enforced by them, like it was sort of like enforced by like the community or whatnot.
Perhaps the most important piece of this puzzle comes from esports reporter Richard Lewis, who got a hold of a leaked copy of the Overwatch League rulebook. And in it, there is a policy in place against players doing one of the most disrespectful and harmful things imaginable, showing bare toes. If you look closely at this clip, you can see that xQc has his bare feet touching the ground in the live broadcast of the Overwatch League. Tryhard7 calling the casters cancerous, throwing a game. Blizzard didn't give a fuck about any of that. No, the real cardinal sin was xQc walking barefoot and disrespecting the hallowed halls of esports. Oh, he deserved every punishment he got and then some for this act alone.
Remember your place.
The standard they have for the league is the standards that you would have in like the NFL or the NBA, right? And I don't think it's a standard that esports is at.
On one hand, I get it. Blizzard is trying to have a new professional standard for esports, with the Overwatch League. They want their players to be all prim and proper. But yet, at the same time, there are many incidents showcasing Blizzard's own lack of professionalism. From double standards to favoritism to only reacting to things when there's enough outcry from the viewers. xQc wasn't by any means flawless. He made a lot of mistakes, but for the most part he took responsibility for them and tried to improve. Despite this, Blizzard still had their sights set on him, even if that meant overreacting and being selective with their rule enforcement. I asked xQc what he would change, if anything, about the league.
I would make sure that I have staff or people working in a community that are very close with the players and just react fast and talk to the players. I just don't feel like I had guidance, but it's not like I want to do like blame shift. Like, I take responsibility for what I did. But I just think for other players for the future, for the people that are currently in the league, I think they could benefit from that.
Pepe the Frog, Twitch emotes, and light trash talking amongst players, these things are not wanted in any sort of competitive environment by Blizzard. Ironically, for a company built on games, which are all about having fun, Blizzard doesn't seem to allow for too much of that.
A big argument is like, dude, this guy's a bad person, and I just hate that so much. Like, I'm a lot of things, but I'm not that, and it just like kind of crushes me that every time big articles like that happen and big punishments that make the headlines and stuff, it just makes me look like a bad person and like someone who does that, and it's just so crushing.
What if I gave you the chance to undo the choices you've made?
While Blizzard has been overly strict with their players and the league, there is one blind spot that Jeff Kaplan seems to have missed. One area which I think is way more extreme than even Pepe. An entire show about himself, made by Mercy's own voice actress.
Now this must be a surprise to you.
I'm a troublemaker, never been a faker, doing things my own way, never giving up. I'm a troublemaker, not a double taker, I don't have the patience to keep it on the up. I'm a troublemaker, keep it on the up. I'm a troublemaker, keep it on the up. I'm a troublemaker, keep it on the up. Gonna be a star, and people look right next to get a glimpse of me and see if I am having sex. They're studying my moves, they try to understand why I am so unlike the singer